Thank you for joining us as the Sac Cultural Hub Media Foundation has interviewed several African American community members and leaders in Sacramento County regarding Black on Black students and white on Black students involved in hate crime and teen bullying. After review of a disturbing racist bullying video reported by KCRA, we asked for feedback on the following questions. Number one, what are the root causes of the hate that youth, community members, and ethnic groups are experiencing in Sacramento County that you have seen? Number two, what do you think the root cause is of the anger that makes individuals and groups lash out hatefully to others without remorse? Number three, what would you like to see local public health partner agencies do to address hate based crimes on communities of color, women, elderly, and young adults? We encourage you to watch the full interviews with each individual on the Hub Live YouTube channel after watching this video.
And new tonight at 10, a Folsom High School teen says that she has become the target of racist bullies both at school and online. And tonight, the teen's mother is calling for the school to do more to protect her.
They keep on taunting her, like saying her name all the time, keep calling her racial names.
The 15-year-old student says this has been happening for months, but the school has not taken enough action.
In a KCRA3 exclusive tonight, Orkomana explains what the girl's mother wants to see happen and also how the school district is responding.
Fighting back tears, Folsom High School freshman Anaya Peer tries to process her pain. The 15-year-old tells me fellow students have been calling her racial slurs since October.
They started saying the N-word in class.
Some alleged statements ripped from the headlines and taken as threats.
He said I can't breathe, the stuff from George Floyd. I think he's gonna do that to me.
Anaya says photos with racist captions were even sent on the social media app Snapchat.
And it said F you, the N-word, and then one said I hate people of color.
Anaya's mother, Tiffany, says her daughter no longer wears her typical long braids to school because classmates pulled her hair.
I don't get it. Why? Because she's beautiful black? Why? Because her hair is a different texture than you guys?
Tiffany tells me she only just found out about the bullying last week. She says Anaya told the school about the issues months ago, but nothing was done.
I think they should have made the school district aware, and they should have let me know too.
But in a statement, the Folsom Cordova Unified School District tells KCRA3 administrators at Folsom High were first made known of the activity last Friday, and immediately upon learning about it, the school and district administration took action. The district goes on to say all legal and due process measures are actively being pursued, stating that FCUSD will not tolerate acts of racism, hate, or bullying, and treat such egregious offenses with the fullest extent of disciplinary measures.
I feel like that's not enough.
Tiffany is not confident students will be held accountable because she says she's been made aware of past racist incidents at Folsom High.
It's some more kids that's at the school that's doing the same thing.
The only solution in her eyes is expulsion.
I just don't want them to go to the same school as my daughter. And if that can't happen, then I just will put my daughter up out of that school.
I don't feel safe at that school.
Anaya and her mother hope by speaking out, more action will be taken here at Folsom High School and on the district level. Reporting in Folsom, Orkomana, KCRA 3 News.
The Folsom Cordova Unified School District tells KCRA they have communicated with Anaya and her mother and that their first course of action was to tend to Anaya's well-being.
There's never been really a sense of urgency for Black lives in America. When you look back just even more recently, the whole Black Lives Matter, campaign, the whole idea and the wow statement of saying Black Lives Matter, that we had to say that in, the 2014s until it ran its course, it's kind of puzzling and surprising. Even being in 2024, that we're still dealing with issues of hate. Oftentimes, Black people are tolerated, not celebrated. Where you'll see Black people celebrated is your local athlete, your local entertainer.
I don't think that we can have this conversation without going back. I always like to reference Sankofa of return back to get it. It's a Adinkra symbol, and also has so much power in its meaning, in that you have to go back and know your past and understand the past in order to move forward in the future. And I do believe that in the sense of Black on Black, or when looking at members of the African diaspora. So those that are here in America, I think a lot of the root causes is not knowing our history. And so when you don't have history, you don't have a lot of hope. And when you don't have that, you also have systemic racism.
I think back when I was coming up, many years ago, we had so much community involvement. After school programs, we had. They had Campfire Girls, Girl Scouts. They had the Dolphin Club. They had the Small World Club. All different types of things to do after school. We don't have any of those things anymore. You have now, if you don't make the team, you can't get into sports. Back then, we could do sports on the play yard and win ribbons and stuff, so that we felt good about what we were doing, crafts and things. We just don't have a lot of those resources, and we need to bring it back, because a lot of times there's just things that the kids are doing things because they don't have nowhere to go. They don't have anything. So what are they going to do? They're going to hang around the kids in the neighborhood who say they love them. And, that's how things, that's just my idea. I just think we need more community like we used to have years ago. Back in the day, if you were climbing in a tree and your neighbor told you to get down, you better get down, because you're going to get in trouble from her, and you're going to get in trouble from your mother. Now, if you go out there and tell a kid to get down from the tree or whatnot, their parents are coming out cussing you out for dealing with the kids, and you're looking out for their safety. So it's just a different time we're in, but we really need to bring back community and programs for these kids to get involved in, especially leadership programs. That's why we created iVibe for that. So for girls, because there's a lot of things for guys, but not for girls.
White American racism is the root of it. White American racism is rooted in jealousy, is rooted in fear that you will retaliate, or these Black folks that we have abused and oppressed so long will retaliate, as well as there are several other things in which perpetuate this whole racism piece. Of course, you listen to the Trump interviews today, they talk about replacement, right? Replacement. Now, that's a philosophy based on the fact that we've got 4 million Black people enslaved in America, and there are only 3, 4, or 5, or 6 million of us white folks. So if we allow them to revolt, if you will, for a better word, then there's fear of retaliation. So all of these things play into current day racism.
We host a lot of youth listening sessions for our youth to be able to participate in. So we're able to get a lot of feedback about what's going on and what they're experiencing. And I would have to say one of the biggest things that we're seeing is the situations where adults are in situations where they're blatantly exhibiting racism, whether it's in school, curricular activities, and then it's also giving an option for their peers to be able to exhibit that same type of behavior. I'll give you an example. We have a young student who at the time was 14 years old, and he lives in a pretty prominent neighborhood, and him and his friend were riding bikes together. And at the time, his friend's bike caught a flat tire. So the friend called a parent. The parent came and picked the friend up and asked, could our participant be able to ride the bike home with his bike? So that's what he agreed to do. As he's riding the bike home, he doesn't get a halfway down to the block, and a random neighbor stops him and accuses him of stealing a bike. She confronts him. She tries to hold him, threatens to call the police. And it wasn't until another neighbor who knew this student, got involved. But it's that type of blatancy that we're seeing from adults and oppressing young students. In addition, we're also hearing things from students who are in school who are experiencing, different types of bias and prejudices in their AP and honors classes, where they may be one of two students of color and they're not getting the same type of treatment that their peers are. A lot of microaggressions. And so it's very challenging to hear these things, but these are just some of the things that we're hearing from the students at our listening sessions.
The city of Sacramento, they've invested $3.2 million in funding to support community-based organizations who are skilled at addressing and reducing hate crimes and supporting victims of hate crimes. And additionally, the state of California, according to Cal Matters, has invested an additional $90 million to address hate crimes and to provide support to victims of hate crimes. So I wanted to start there because that's a bright spot. Because at least we know that the state of California and cities like Sacramento and LA, who experienced the highest rise of hate crimes in 2022, it peaked higher than 2005 when we had experienced a rise in hate crimes. Since making those financial investments, both the state and the city of Sacramento have reported a decrease in the amount of hate crimes that were reported. But I would say that it's very important for both the state of California and Sacramento County and the city of Sacramento to create inclusivity and present opportunities that bring Californians together through education. A lot of the hate crimes that are persisting right now are racially fueled, and I think that that's common.